So me and my Buddha over here, we thought we would just pop up with a quick safety video for everybody practicing yoga at home. Obviously, when you're practicing in your own home, you don't have a qualified yoga teacher present to correct you and to help you to safely move through your practice. So I thought I would just share a few hints and tips of how to really know that you are safe with what you're going to do at home. Firstly, as I start to venture into this world of recording yoga classes, I will endeavour to be as clear and concise as possible with my instructions. And in that way, you don't need to be looking at the screen all the time. So please be aware, especially of your neck, that you don't kind of crane your neck or twist your neck awkwardly to get to see the screen. I'm hoping that I will be able to really articulate everything so that you don't need to be looking at me the whole time. I will be going through each posture as well. So if you do need to quickly check on alignment or what I'm talking about, please feel free. But just be careful that you're not compromising your body in any way. And I think you'll find a laptop or an iPad easier than a phone for home practice. When I've tried to do online yoga before, I found that phones are a bit difficult to put in the right place and to see the screen. Laptop is easier. You can angle the screen however works for you and place it and also move it around as well if you're doing things from side to side or turning different ways on the mat. So be aware of that, and I will try to help you with that by being really clear with my instructions. Okay. Next thing I would like to say about is about how to find a really good stretch without causing any strain in the body. So if you think about how I'm sitting now, my body is in a neutral position. It's coming into a nice neutral spine and tall spine. So here my body's in a neutral position. And if I go into a side bend, I'm going to find a point where I feel the stretch. And in yoga, we call this a compassionate edge. And as I move my body into that stretch, I'll find a point where, oh yeah, there's the stretch. And if I stay here and breathe here for a few rounds, then when I come back to my neutral position, I'll feel the benefit of the stretch. But if I am being a little bit too competitive with myself or with somebody else in the room, then we come to our compassionate edge. And then if we try to push past it, then we'll lose our form, lose our alignment, and we'll lose the benefit of the stretch. And there's something else that you can be aware of as well in this. So let me give you an example. So if I come into a side bend, just like a little side bend like this, I'm not really feeling the stretch there at all. So if I come a little bit deeper, so if I drop a little bit deeper into my stretch, so that's good for me. I can feel that stretch working, and now I can breathe nice and deeply, breathing in. That feels nice. That feels like a really good stretch. If I push a little bit deeper, I start to lose my side bend and my sit bone's coming off the floor. I'm losing my alignment and my breath. My breath is much shorter, sharper. So a good thing to always be aware of is your breath. If in any posture you find that your breath becomes laboured and you're having to sort of huff and puff a little bit, that is your body telling you, back off. You've gone too far. You've gone past your compassionate edge. So we always find that edge and then we play with it. We push into it a little bit. We might come to the edge and then breathe in and come away from it a little bit. And then breathe out and go a little bit deeper and breathe in and realign and find a bit more space and breathe out and go a little bit deeper. But we don't kind of, push through, grit our teeth, clench the jaw and huff and puff our way through our yoga practice. We find softness in the body and we use the breath to create space in the body. And then we will get the benefit without straining at all. Always no strain, no pain, always finding the compassionate edge. Okay, so from that point, let's just go into a few health conditions that need special consideration for yoga. The first one is blood pressure. So if you have high blood pressure or low blood pressure, sometimes people with this condition can use medication, which can bring the blood pressure to normal, and in which case you can do most of the yoga practice without any worry. If you are not medicated for those, or you have very high blood pressure, always consult a doctor if you have any concerns, but usually you can just go very gently into yoga practice. The thing to be aware of with blood pressure is never to let your head go lower than your heart, or let's not say never, or slowly move head lower than your heart. So if you're coming into a forward bend, you could use some props to bring the floor up to you rather than going all the way down towards your toes. And you go very slowly in and don't stay there for very long and come very slowly out. Same with the arms above the head. That can stress the heart a little bit and stress the blood pressure a little bit. So don't stay with the arms above the head too long. Just come up, arms above the head, breathing in, and come straight back out again. Even if I stay there for 3 breaths, you don't have to do that. Come out again. Be really sensible and listen to your body. The next thing is epilepsy, any conditions of the brain or the nervous system. Again, you might want to consult a medical practitioner, especially for the relaxation and the meditation aspect of a yoga practice. And then the other thing to think about is bad backs. So 90% of back problems can be helped with yoga practice. Only about 10% need medical intervention. And what I have found is that most people who come to yoga with back issues, after about 6 weeks, they really feel an improvement in range of movement in their back and less pain in their back as well. You can always go to a physio or get an assessment done to be clear that you are safe to practice yoga, especially if you have a lot of back pain, something like a slip disc, herniated discs, things like that. You would want to get the okay from a professional. But most people with back problems find an improvement in yoga. And again, just go very gently and steadily and ease into everything so that you are just finding that edge. Your edge might be a lot sooner, your compassionate edge, you might find it a lot sooner than somebody else, but that's okay, because over time you will increase your range of movement. And then also ladies who have menstruation and pregnancy. So everybody's different in their menstrual cycle, but I think that it's good to be a bit more gentle in your yoga practice on the first 3 days of menstruation, and to avoid inversions, because that can make the blood flow kind of unstable, unsteady. And for pregnancy, same thing. Inversions not recommended for pregnancy. Also, be careful with forward bends. Don't want to squash the baby, and be careful with twists. You don't really want to kind of wring out the abdomen when you've got a baby growing in there. So be really careful with forward bends and with twists, and avoid inversions for pregnancy. And also in something like cat, coming into table posture with your back nice and flat, letting the baby sort of hang and take the weight off your lower back is great, but don't drop your lower back to that and allow the weight of the baby to kind of pull and crunch your lower back, especially as you get into the later stages of pregnancy. So, and also protect your lower back by engaging your core throughout as well, because lower back can really take a hammering, especially again as the baby gets heavy in the later stages of pregnancy. So in Drew Yoga that I'm trained in, we like to say that most people, 90% I was going to say, most people can do most of the yoga most of the time. And if at any point in a class you want to pause, you can sit, you can lie, you can close your eyes, and you can visualize yourself moving through the instructions. And funnily enough, your brain will produce exactly the same hormones as if you were actually doing the movements themselves. So visualizing is a very powerful tool to stay present through the class, but take as many breaks as you like. You can always come into a child's pose, or you can lie on your belly or your back if you need a rest at any point in the class. And I will put down my email address at the base of this, underneath this video. So any questions, please feel free to email me, and with any particular queries. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you on a mat very soon. Namaste.